I just wanted to cover one thing separately from the 078 patch in PTS round 1 that for me is probably the most exciting thing, even though for most people it probably doesn't matter at all. And that is resolution scaling for the user interface, the UI. So this is what it looks like when I log into the game in a 4K monitor. So you notice I'm recording this in 4K, and even if you're watching this in 1080, you will notice that the UI is very small, and this is what I see when I play in 4K. And if people who are playing on, say, a 1440 monitor will experience something similar, where the UI is a bit small, and on 4K it's so small that it's almost illegible. And when I'm playing, if I use the default minimap, for example, even on its maximum setting, I still have to lean in to the minimap in order to see what's there, what the names are, and things like that. And so I've been hoping for UI scaling for a long time, and I have made a few comments here and there. I very much doubt that Wargaming has picked those up, but they have now implemented UI scaling. So if I go into the game settings and I go into graphics, you'll notice there's this new slider here, increased UI scale, which you might not be able to read yet, but you'll be able to read it in just a second, because if I slide this all the way to the right hand side, which is going to be too big, if I slide that all the way to the right hand side and say OK, reply, you'll notice that everything suddenly gets an awful lot bigger. And this looks a lot more like now what you would see on 1080. Actually, it's bigger than that. If I say OK, so this is maximum, and everything is huge. To me, this is way too crowded, but everything's nice and clear. So all the text is beautifully clear. Some of the icons are not scaled yet properly, so some of them are still a bit pixely, like that icon there. The Wargaming logo there is a bit pixely, but that's fine, I think. You know, the crates are a bit pixely there. But I can live with that, that's not a problem at all. I can read the writing suddenly, and that makes it 100 times better for me. Now if we just step that back a little bit by going back into the settings, and you'll notice there's this button here called Define. I think what that really means is automatically choose the right size for the monitor. So if I press Define, it sets it to there, which is sort of a certain percentage of my monitor size. So if I say Apply, you'll notice it gives me a bit of a border around here. Everything goes down to a nice sensible size, and that's great. You know, the writing's all readable, everything's a nice size. I've still got space in the middle. So for me, this is the most important thing. I'll very quickly kick off a co-op battle here, just so that you can see what it looks like in game as well. Yeah, but I think that's brilliant, and it's really exciting. There is some other stuff in 078. And I'll cover that in a separate video, but I just wanted to show you a 4K recorded video of the UI scaling, because I think for people who play on higher resolution monitors, this is a fantastic change in 078, and thank you Wargaming for putting this in. I really appreciate it. Let me kick off this co-op battle here. So you'll see on here, you know, some of these things are a little bit pixely, but the writing is great. I do wonder whether they'll fix that a little bit before it goes live. Undoubtedly they're spotting things that aren't scaling properly. The size is fine, that's just the resolution of the image is not high enough. They're just stretching the image that's there, whereas the font obviously is not raster, it's vector, so that's scaling nicely. If I press Start Battle here, you will notice that everything's nice and big. Now, if you've never seen 4K, if I actually go back into the settings and go back to here and make this small again, this is what it looks like when you play in 4K. That's as big as the minimap goes. The icons at the bottom are really small. I can hardly read the writing on the minimap without leaning into my monitor. And so being able to come in here, automatically make it the right size, just scale that back a little bit. That's fantastic. It's great. I can read that stuff. I can read the team names and the player names and the ship names. That's just great. I love it. I won't make you watch this co-op match that I'm doing for one of the missions. So have a look at 078. Have a look at my other video for 078 and see what's in there. And I'll catch you soon.